Hey friends, Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life, here to bring you my daily diary to let you know what I did hour by hour for the Thursday the 9th of September and Friday the 10th of September. Today I'm going to give you 2 days in one, and I'm bringing you this daily diary from, not from my office obviously, as you can see from the background, but from the Orlando Airport Hotel. And tell you how I got here in just a moment. So Thursday morning, the 9th, I started out at about 4 in the morning. I got up and just got my things together and drove myself to the Orlando airport. It's about 40 minutes from our Priests for Life office. And in order to go on a trip that I was scheduled for and did on Thursday the 9th flew into the Fresno, California airport and spoke at an event in Visalia, the Tulare Kings Right to Life group that had invited me they've been inviting me for years, and we were finally able to make it work. So they had a pro-life banquet, but about 800 people, and it was outdoors. It was very nice, but I'll get to that in a moment because I wanted to tell you what happened earlier in the day. So as soon as I got to the airport and checked in, I did as I usually do. I opened my laptop and I did some early work. I had to work on a clergy mailing that we are doing, and also scheduling some interviews with authors of Friend of the Court briefs for the Supreme Court's abortion case that they're considering. Did all that before the flight. Then on the plane, had to fly to Salt Lake City and then connect there. Very short time is hardly there in the airport at all. Got on another plane to go to Fresno. So on the flights, I didn't sleep. I mean, if I'm really tired, I'll sleep, but I did not sleep on the flights. I did my first of all, I did a substantial amount of reading. I have been studying a document, an in-depth analysis of American opinions on abortion, not through survey polls, but through extensive, detailed conversations. Sociologists put this report together. So I had begun reading that. I finished reading and studying that. Then I also was working on things like the upcoming pro-life leaders meeting that I'm coordinating. I was in communication with some of the Texas legislators who created the heartbeat law. Did some preparation for our gift entry team in terms of communication with our donors, certain messages we want to give them, working on a promotion of upcoming trips, working on an action alert that I got it ready and sent it out to our staff to send out in regard to upcoming legislation, opposing pro-abortion legislation in Congress. Did some planning for my Washington, D.C. trip next week. Did some work in regard to a new saint in the making in the church, a mom who sacrificed her life for her unborn child. You'll be hearing us talk more about that. 40 Days for Life is going to start on the 22nd. I'm preparing a special message. I was in touch with the leadership of 40 Days. Worked on the pastoral team schedule for our pastoral meeting next week, social media work, and also communication with one of the bishops that sent us one of his new statements about abortion. After all of this, I finally got to California, got to have lunch with some of the leaders of the group that invited me. We were talking pro-life strategy and so forth. Did some work in the car as well as they drove me to the hotel. Did more work at the hotel, communicated with our executive director, with our chief operations officer, did some telephone calls, and then they picked me up to go to the dinner. When we got there first, this outdoor venue, first they wanted me to lead a rosary, which I did, and then I networked with people, signed books, greeted people as they arrived, and then gave my talk to the assembled group of, like I say, about 800 people. Networked with them until about 9 o'clock at night, California time. Went back to my hotel, went to bed. 4:30 the next morning, got picked up to go back to the airport. And it was about an hour's drive to the airport. Did some emails on the way in the car, and then again at the airport, I opened up my laptop. I had to do some work in regard to the upcoming events at the Supreme Court that we're helping to lead at the first weekend of October. was in contact with our attorneys in regard to a litigation report about court battles throughout the country regarding abortion. There are about 81 cases active in the state and federal courts right now regarding different aspects of abortion. And then did my flight to, let's see, what did I do here? Yes, I did the flight from Fresno to Los Angeles, and then in the Los Angeles airport I grabbed something to eat while being on the phone with my office. Had at least 3 or 4 different staff meetings by telephone as I was eating, and then as I was standing in line getting ready to board the flight. And then on the plane, more communication with Texas legislators, sent out a press release about the heartbeat bill, did some other messaging preparations and more studying and reading, got out a joint op-ed that I did with Alveda King, our pastoral associate, prepared the staff to send a video for the upcoming meeting at the Council for National Policy, at which I'll be speaking, and then worked with staff on ideas for our November newsletter, and then finally arrived back here in Orlando, where I immediately checked into the hotel here where I am. The reason I didn't go back to my Priest for Life office in Titusville is that I have events in Orlando now over the weekend, and then fly out of the airport here again on Monday morning to go to D.C. Made some phone calls once I settled into the hotel here and got a quick bite to eat, some Chick-fil-A. I spoke again with our Chief Technology Officer, got updating on a lot of things, and then saw on Newsmax this very beautiful special that they had on 9/11, commemorative 20th anniversary special. I watched that and went to bed. So that's my daily diary for the 9th and 10th of September. 2021. I appreciate you watching these updates. I hope they're encouraging to you. Friends, we're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to be diverted. We are not in any way going to let up until abortion is ended in this country, and it will end. Thank you for your work to that same goal. Talk to you soon. God bless. Hello, friends. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life, bringing you my daily diary. What did I do on Saturday, September 11th of 2021? Well, of course, it was the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which I spent some just personal time in prayer, remembering 20 years ago what that day was like for us at the Priests for Life headquarters, which was just not too many miles away from the scene, and we could see the smoke before we even knew what was happening. But here I'm staying at the Orlando airport this weekend, and I took part down at the terminal in the moment of silence that here and throughout the nation was observed in the morning at the time of the first plane hitting the World Trade Center, and then watched some of the commemorative services from New York. There was that time of prayer. I sent out some special messages about the occasion on social media. And then I did some work here in my hotel room on email and other documentation pertaining to some of the following things. There's an upcoming book coming out about Norma McCorvey, and of course I've been asked to comment on that because of how well I knew her. I knew her just about as well as anybody in the country. And did some work on that. Amicus briefs for the U.S. Supreme Court case on abortion. Had to do some reading and communication with people about those. The upcoming meetings of pro-life leaders, I did some work on planning those. The International Week of Prayer and Fasting is coming up that I take part in each year. Did some work on that. Did some work on some projects for our donors, and as well as some upcoming meetings with U.S. senators. Then I had to pick up some things at the store. So prior to my speaking engagement, I took a trip just 10 minutes from here to the Florida Mall, actually. And I also took some personal relaxation time there, and picked up some things that I and the office need. And so that was an enjoyable time. And then I came back to the airport, and I took some additional work time before I had to drive to my next event, and I read through the manuscript of Abby Johnson's new book. Abby and I have a great relationship. In fact, I'm godfather to one of her children, and she's coming out with a new book, and I read through the manuscript of that because she wants my input and endorsement. And then I drove to the home of some very, very nice pro-life activists here in Orlando, very generous people who invited a whole group of pro-life leaders from the Orlando area to come together to listen to me and to meet one another, get to know one another, and also to hear from our friend and colleague from the Florida Policy Council, John Stemberger. So John and I talked with and answered questions from this wonderful group of people that consisted of pregnancy center directors, 40 Days for Life leaders, legislators, political, not legislators, but legislative activists, political activists, and people who go out and pray in front of the abortion mills, and who do educational work, and so on and so forth. We had a great evening with them. We had some dinner. We talked. We prayed. So that, and then I came back here to the airport hotel to go to sleep. So that was my day on September 11th. Of course, at the gathering of pro-life leaders, we again commemorated, reflected on the events of 9/11, mourned the victims, and prayed God to set us free from a culture of violence. And I know you join us in those prayers. Thanks for joining me for these updates. We'll be back soon.